nutritional segment of the program. Freaks Unleashed, talking about how freaks eat, okay? This to me is equal as important to the training aspect, okay? You know, your body is only going to make tissue out of the food you provide it, okay? Well, we know training is the catalyst for muscle growth. You break your tissues down, you break the muscles down with the training. Now it's the recovering phase, okay? This is now we're putting the food back in, and you got to put that good quality food back in for your body to achieve and make that freaky mass. Okay, so this is by far probably the most critical component. This is probably one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of guys in your gym change it all, because everybody's in there training hard maybe, but they're not eating right. They're not eating like freaks. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about our individual nutrition. Rob's gonna go ahead and break down the mass phase one, the mass freak phase, talking about some off-season food choices, trying to help you build some heavier, good, dense quality mass. And I'm gonna go ahead and take you into phase two, which is gonna be more of like the shredded phase, the lean freak phase. So we'll talk about a little bit more of the leaner, you know, choices to get your physique leaned out and whatnot. So go ahead, Rob, take it away.
You know what? I couldn't agree more to that, because the thing is, nutrition is by far the most important segment of this entire freak phase. Because if you think about it, you're in the gym for a very small percentage of the time, but you've got to make sure that that small percentage of the day is done right. So we're going to show you how to do that later on. But first, the nutrition, your body's recovering all day after your workout, so you need to make sure that this is done right. And we're going to show you how. Okay guys, I'm going to take you through phase one, which is the mass freak. And you know, it's real important for me, as I'm a TNA wrestling superstar, that I need to stay in pretty good condition all year round. And I think that that's got a lot of benefits to it, because you can actually look in the mirror and you can assess yourself all year round and see actually where your weak points are, as opposed to being 100 pounds off your contest weight and just looking like a mess basically, and you can't identify where you need to improve. So I really do that by trying to keep a diet plan that I have on a daily basis in and out, and I really try and stay as close as I can to that, and I will try and replicate that diet on a daily basis. And you know, I'm a big fan of at least trying to consume steak once a day to maintain the fullness and the size of my body. I'll really rely heavily on chicken breast. And then also, maybe later on towards the evening, I'll look towards maybe a fish meal, which will either be tilapia or it'll be flounder fish. Now, when I'm going through the day, I'll always try and use my foundation of complex carbs. I'll usually start off with oatmeal, and then I'll either alternate them between brown rice, sweet potato, and then sometimes after training, after I've had my supplement nutrition shakes, which we'll touch on later on, I'll maybe have a white potato, baked potato meal, and then move on from there. But I'm really trying to look to eat every 2 hours. That is my rule. Every 2 hours I must sustain my quantity and quality of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and fibers. And when we look at the fiber, I'll always try and either go with my solid meals, and I'll look for asparagus or broccoli. And then when we talk about fats, sometimes I'll add them to my meal, and that varies on how my body feels and how full I'm looking, etc. But the fats that I'll always sort of mainly cook with would be extra virgin olive oil. If I'm not baking something, I'll cook it in extra virgin olive oil, or maybe almond butter. I'm a huge fan of almond butter, and I actually feel that sometimes when I have a sweet tooth, which I do, that will help take away my cravings. Okay then guys, so saying all that, here now is an example of what I would eat on a daily basis. So check this out. Okay guys, as you can see from my diet plan there, at the morning I really try and load my body with the most amount of carbs, which actually consists 50% of complex carbs, which is mainly based on oatmeal, but I also include a lot of fruit as well, because my next thing after my breakfast, I train. And that's my biggest workout, which is going to be about 2 hours long. So I need to make sure that my body is fully fueled for that workout. Plus, not to mention that there'll be at least 50 grams of protein involved in that meal. Once that training session is over, then I go on to my supplements, my nutrition shakes. So I'll be looking at a carbohydrate shake, which will consist of fast-acting carbs to go straight and directly into the muscle, followed then 5 to 10 minutes later with another 50 to 60 grams of protein. Then after that, what I'm looking to do is to have my first solid meal, which will be 1 hour, approximately 1 hour after my sports nutrition shakes. And that's basically going to be a starchy carbohydrate, which is going to be something like a large baked potato, followed with either steak or chicken, and then maybe a moderate to small amount of fiber, which would be broccoli or asparagus. I would try and replicate that meal with the same quantities of carbohydrates. We would change probably to brown rice or sweet potatoes through the day, but basically I'm looking to get a large amount of protein and a large amount of carbohydrates and a moderate amount of vegetables until maybe 6 or 7, which what I then do is I change things around a little bit and I actually taper the carbs off. I'm a big believer in not cutting out carbs at 6 o'clock. I still have them, but the amount of the quantity is a lot less than mainly in the day. So the protein intake is still high, the carbohydrate dropped to moderate, and that increased the fiber up a little bit as well. So the balance has changed around there until the last meal of the night, where if it's a solid meal, it'll be fish, which I may supplement that again with maybe some peanut butter. And then just before I go to bed will be my last protein shake of the night. And that's basically how I try and keep my day in, day out regimen of my meals, because that makes me feel on track, and I know it keeps my body in line, and that is what I need to do to become the freak.
Look guys, alright, so I'm going to cover phase 2, which is the lean freak phase, okay? So, as Rob touched base earlier on his phase, the mass freak, he's a wrestling superstar now. He has to stay dialed in year round. He has to walk that fine line, that tightrope year round. So he has to stay lean, but he still has to stay massive, full, hard, and dense, okay? So on the lean phase, what we're going to do is talk about really going to extreme measures and taking your body fat levels really down. So as a bodybuilder, I'm more in the off-season. I go into a little bit heavier, a little bit more of an off-season phase, where I'm having to bulk up and really try to add on some major thickness and major density. And then we go into anywhere between a 14 to 12 to 10 week phase of pure shredding. Okay, and we accomplished that by doing several different things with the diets, as far as cycling different types of proteins, carbohydrates, things like that to keep your body always guessing, keeping the metabolism stoked up. And so we try to avoid plateaus at all times, going right into contest phase. So there's many different elite strategies we're going to utilize to achieve your sub-low levels of body fat. Trying to get extreme low levels of fat is extremely difficult, but yet very obtainable. Thousands of bodybuilders do it every season, and now we're going to show you how to do it next. The first macronutrient I'm going to cover first is protein. Okay, proteins, we're going to keep your proteins very lean source. Okay, we don't want any real conversion of body fat, so we're going to keep it all egg whites, fish, 99% lean ground turkey breast, and chicken. Okay, basically those are going to be your four lean sources of protein. We're going to go ahead and keep your metabolism stoked up, your thermogenic rate high. We're going to go ahead and keep your protein up. I recommend about 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, so if you're a 200-pound male and you're trying to get about 180 pounds shredded on stage, you're going to need about 180 grams times 2. Okay. That's going to be your total amount of protein for the day, and you're going to divide that between 6 to 8 meals, 7 meals, however many you're going to space out. But typically we're going to try and keep a meal cadence of between 2 to 3 hours. no longer than 3 hours, and really no less than 2 hours because your body hasn't fully absorbed all the protein from the previous meal. So basically, your body gets very adapted to eating the same foods on a consistent basis. So we're always making sure we're getting, to get a complete amino acid profile, we're going to go ahead and get proteins from different sources. Okay, and so always like to start off the day with egg whites, and I actually like to end the day with egg whites. Egg whites really fill me up, and you fill the stomach up, and also they're 100% bioavailable. Your body absorbs the most amount of protein from egg whites than it does any other protein source: chicken, steak, fish, anything. So that being said, we know that egg whites is your most highest quality bioavailable protein source there is. And then from the rest of the day, I'll alternate usually ground turkey breast, then chicken, then some fish, or vice versa. Any way you want to mix it up. I typically like fish because it's a little bit lighter in the stomach and it's easier to digest, and I like that pre and post workout. And the other meals I get in chicken. So for myself, I'm getting in around 10 to 12 ounces of meat per serving. And since fish is a little bit lighter in texture, typically add in maybe another additional ounce or two for fish, because they don't have the same amount of density as the other meat sources. Okay guys, next thing we want to touch base on is carbohydrates. This is by far one of the most speculated, talked about macronutrients there is, especially when it comes time to fat loss. Carbohydrates are your friend. I'm going to tell you that right now. Anybody that's an athlete, bodybuilder, we're going to tell you straight up, never avoid carbohydrates. It's all about knowing what kind of carbs to eat, when to eat, and how much to eat, okay? But you never cut them out. Because I'll tell you right now, the very first thing that is going to happen to you within a week or two of you going low carbs or no carbs is you're going to drag your thyroid levels into the gutter, into the toilet. When that happens, your body's not going to release any more body fat, okay? Your body utilizes a hormone called thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. Look it up, Google it. And that's directly linked to certain things, and one thing is definitely carbohydrates, okay? Number two is you're not going to be able to train hard with low or no carbs. I'm going to tell you that right now. Your muscles utilize glucose and glycogen for fuel, okay? So why not eat carbohydrates, okay? So the harder you can train, the more fat you can burn, okay? That's how it is. Basically, we like to stick with lower glycemic carbohydrates, so we avoid as much a conversion of body fat as possible, if there is going to be any. And the way we do that, we're going to go ahead and get some extremely low glycemic forms of carbohydrates. Sweet potatoes is great. Oat bran is actually more beneficial than oatmeal. Quinoa is actually my favorite. And quinoa you can actually prepare just like you can rice. And the next thing would be brown rice, or actually I like brown rice noodles. Try to stay gluten-free and wheat-free if possible. Other than those sources right there, green vegetables are considered a freebie. Broccoli, asparagus, green beans, kale, spinach, those are pretty much all water and fiber. Your body's not getting any usable energy from those food sources. So feel free to fill up as much as you can on greens. You can have them with every single meal. You can have them as much as you want, okay? Fiber is your friend. The greens have tons of antioxidants and phytonutrients to help keep your body alive and fight cancer, keep your body alkalized, which keeps your acid levels low in the body so your body functions correctly at a pH level, at a cellular level. Extremely critical. So feel free to have all the green vegetables you want. Okay, fruits. Basically fruits, we're going to keep to a very bare minimum on the lean freak phase. Okay, we don't want to take any kind of risk or gamble as far as any conversion of body fat. Even though that the sugar in fruits is all natural, fructose, it still has a possibility of converting to body fat. But we will keep a little bit in there just for the sake of health and fitness reasons. So we're going to go ahead and add in a small amount of fruit pre and post workout. Okay, so either half a banana, a couple of blueberries or strawberries is fine immediately before and immediately after your workout. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and keep fruits off this phase of the diet. Fats, basically you guys are going to be supplementing EFAs, essential fatty acids, in your diet, which will give you your omegas 3, 6, and 9s. So we're going to try to keep the diet, as lean as possible and fats to a minimum coming from foods. So basically, the only fats I want you really consuming in your diet would be from, let's say, 2 tablespoons of olive oil utilized to cook your food with, and 2 tablespoons of flaxseed oil made with maybe some vinegar of some sort for a salad dressing over your greens. Okay, other than that, we're going to keep fats to a minimum during this phase too. One very critical phase of not just this diet, but the complete program is hydration. Good quality water. Guys like us consume about 3 gallons of water, high quality water a day. Basically, general rule of thumb is about 20 ounces an hour if you can. You should be flushing, urinating very frequently, but basically your body is 70% water, okay? That means, yes, your muscles are mostly water, okay? So if your muscles aren't staying hydrated, A, they're not going to be contracting and functioning properly in the gym, and B, that means you're going to be dehydrated at a cellular level, which means that your body can't pull fat into the bloodstream, into the cells to burn fat either. So when you're dehydrated, your metabolism slows down because the cells are dehydrated and they can't function properly. So make this a critical part of the system, okay? Make sure you tote around your water, get your water in. I know it seems like it's a beaten down subject, but it's the damn truth, okay? So you guys, take responsibility for yourself. Don't give me any excuses. Get your water in. On this phase, the lean phase of the diet, you might have some sweet tooth. It's a little bit of sweet cravings, okay? So a lot of guys are going to be asking me about, what should I do in this particular circumstance? I'm craving sweets, okay? Well, you got several options, First, I know there's a lot of protein powders out there that you can actually make into a pudding, okay, just by adding some water to it. And there's actually protein puddings out there available now, like for instance MHP makes a protein pudding, even Vitamin Shop has their own pudding mix. That's pretty much no fat, no carbohydrates, just some protein. We'll consume some fat-free, sugar-free Jell-O. Another great way to combat sweet tooth is gum. Okay, I like to chew a piece of gum almost after every meal. Now I find that recipe works for me very well. And another thing too is sipping on frequent amounts of something like Crystal Light, for instance. When you get that sweet tooth, okay, instead of reaching for and cheating on your diet and reaching for something bad, have a couple swigs of Crystal Light or chew a piece of gum, and I promise you that sweet tooth will go away. And then on the other phase, the mass phase, what do you like to do? What do you like to do for cheat meals and whatnot on the mass phase?
On mass phase 1, I really want to try and stick to the same principles. Obviously, it's not as strict and to the T as yourself, but like I said, I don't believe there's a phase where you should not pay attention to detail, where you need to go out and eat rubbish. It's all about decisions and making the right ones. Even when you're traveling, you're in a situation where you're out on a meal, it's all about making the good decisions and ordering the right things. And that's what you got to do. And I try and use exactly the same examples like gum, Crystal Light. I use all these in my phase to try and keep me away from ordering or eating garbage. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, guys, there's a lot of fad diets out there and diet systems that talk about, cheat meals, cheat days. I've heard a lot of garbage out there, but basically, if you're providing your body with enough quantity, enough clean food, honestly, your body should stay full and rock hard, and you're going to see so many results in your physique, you're not even going to want to cheat on your diet. Okay, I know when I'm dialed in, I don't want to lose those abs. I work too hard, and I don't want a cheat meal or a cheat day like some of these other fad diets do. I know many bodybuilders out there look phenomenal, and they don't cheat on a diet for sometimes 12, 14 weeks straight. Okay, there is a time and a place. And I know it's not a perfect world. We all try to live by the 90-10 rule. Or you're good 90% of the time. I say for the phase 2, the lean freak phase, try to challenge yourself. See if you can go 10 weeks without a cheat meal. Okay? See if you can do that for once in your life. Go 10 weeks without cheating on your diet. Okay? Without cheating yourself. Okay? That's what it really boils down to.
And I think they'll be one step closer to being in the freak army.
Yeah.
doing so.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. All right, guys, I want you to check out my Phase 2 Lean Freak meal plan. This is a sample menu of what I like to eat on a daily basis while I'm shredding.